This video is sponsored by whipped cream in a can. It's delicious.
You know, I was just scrolling down through YouTube trying to find a video to put on while I was doing random stuff around the house, and I stumbled upon Mark Commode's YouTube channel where he was talking about his best movies of the year so far. And you know what? I was thinking to myself, I thought, you know what? I was actually going to do this around July, but then I just didn't. So even though it's middle of August, I'm just going to do my top 10 movies of the year so far for anyone who wants to see it. Yeah, this is one of those videos where like I just go on my phone and talk. Like I don't, it's very little effort. Now, to be fair, I have not reviewed every single movie I watched this year, and the reason why is just sometimes I don't have anything insightful to say about a movie, or sometimes it's been like 3 days since I've seen it, and I realise that I'll probably get like 10 views on it, so the amount of time it spent, you know, writing down the points which I would like to talk about, editing, you know, this is actually a green screen. So I just like, you know, for 10 views, I was like, you know what, I'll just do like a list at the end of the year and hope everyone tunes in then. So, without further ado, this is my top 10 list. The movies which I have reviewed, I'll have links to down in the comments section, or in the little like description, link description in the YouTubes. But here we go. Number 10. So number 10 is The Incredibles 2. I really liked it. You know, it was worth the 14-year wait. I'm actually hoping that now that it's officially $1 billion movie, they're going to make an Incredibles 3, or maybe do like a Frozone movie, and then like you know, the chick who was like Blink from Incredibles 2, and do like an Incredibles cinematic universe or something like that. I actually don't want that to happen, but I would like more Incredibles movies. Number 9, as you can see, I'm actually reading this from my letterbox. You can follow me on letterbox. Letterbox. I update it every single time I watch a movie. So number 9 is Kodachrome. Now this is a Netflix movie. It was here in the cinemas for like 3 weeks. And I was fortunate enough to check it out. I actually checked it out twice. I watched it once online and then once in the cinemas. This was just such a beautiful movie. Like, I just got all the feels from this. It's got Jason Sudeikis, who I wouldn't say is underrated, but is not overrated. You know, he's just like rated. You know, like no one's like, oh, you know what, you should totally cast Jason Sudeikis in this. But you know, whenever people mention Jason Sudeikis, they're like, oh god, he's really funny, and he was really good in Colossal as well. But Kodachrome is fantastic. Like, it's just such a beautiful movie. I cannot talk about it enough. But I'm going to stop talking about it now because we're going to do number 8. Number 8 is Game Night. Now this movie had no right being as good as it was. Like, they just made a lot of really interesting choices in the way that they directed it. You know, comedies now, they're always just over the shoulder shots, you know, shot, reverse, reverse. It's all the same. You know, there's no visual flair to it. And that's something which I actually talk a lot on this channel about, is a lack of a strong directorial voice. But the way that they filmed this was just so interesting. And Jesse Plemons, like, I haven't liked him for a long time purely because he was so good in Breaking Bad that I fucking hated his character so much. But in Game Night, he was fucking awesome. He was the best part about it. But honestly, this movie is hilarious. It's got a ton of heart to it. The directing is amazing. They use this like really wide angle lens whenever they're just filming like transition shots, you know, someone pulling into a garage, and every single house and car looks like it's a little piece on a chessboard, or not a chessboard, like a board game, you know. Number 7 is Tully. Now this movie I watched a few weeks ago. Now it has a lot of subject matter, you know, it's about children and raising children and needing time for yourself, but But what I actually really loved about it was just how real the portrayal of parenthood is. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert. You know, like I'm a step parent, and the child is quite young. But I've never given birth to a child or shut one out or anything. So I can't really talk too much about that. But I just loved the realism of exactly what parents go through. Even just little things like worrying about mastitis. It's just I loved that portrayal. And it was done so well by Charlize Theron, and Diablo Cody wrote it, and Jason Reitman directed it. It was just such a great little movie that it's number 7 on my list, and I honestly, this movie knocked me on my asses a little bit. Like it suffered a lot from the whole third act. They didn't really know how to wrap it up or anything like that. But honestly, it's as a rental, or if you still have a chance to see it in cinemas, it's definitely worth the watch. Number 6 is a movie called First Reformed by A24 Studios, and anyone who's watched this channel enough knows that I love A24. Like, I see A24 come up on the screen, and I'm like, fucking yes! But First Reformed is a fantastic movie. It's a very, very odd movie. It was written and directed by Paul Schrader, so you're going to have a lot of really deep character work. And a lot of people for anyone who doesn't know, Paul Schrader was a writer of Taxi Driver, and there's a lot of parallels to Travis Bickle, to Ethan Hawke's character, but this really is Ethan Hawke's movie. Like, every single scene he is directly involved in. There's nothing that really takes place where he's not in the scene or even within the frame. But honestly, check it out. It is very deliberately paced. Sorry, there was a bit of fluff floating in the air. Very deliberately paced, which is a fancy way of saying slow. The movie is slow, but it is not boring or uneventful. Honestly, it is such... Oh, I just love this movie so much. Now, number 5 is a movie which I reviewed recently, and it's actually my most viewed video, which is great, because it gave me the kick in the butt that I needed to start uploading more regularly. And but anyway, it's BlacKkKlansman. Also, when I first saw the title for this movie, I actually thought it was called BlacKkKlansman. But anyway, this movie I've already reviewed. You can check out my more eloquent thoughts on that review, which I'll link down below. But honestly, as a Spike Lee joint, honestly, I don't do drugs, but if I was going to smoke a joint, it would be Spike Lee's. But yeah, this movie, it was very, very funny. Had a lot of really great, like, even now, like, it's been a few weeks and it still knocks me back when I think about it. Like, it's a very, very funny but very unsettling but very, very powerful movie. So yeah, it's number 5, and I don't really see it changing much but by the end of the year. But then again, we have like Beautiful Boy and Widows. We have so many movies coming out this year. Number 4 is Avengers Infinity War. That kind of rhymed a little bit. Once again, this is a movie which I have reviewed. It was just, it was a culmination of the last 10 years, they say, but really, I mean, it's a culmination of like the last 5 years. I've seen this movie more than I've seen any other movie this year. Like I bought the 4K copy, and it's a movie which just has so many small great character moments that when I go and rewatch the movie, I never like skip to the action sequences or anything like that. I'm skipping to the small character moments that they have in the movie. So yeah, it's number 4. Could go up and down though, we'll see. Number 3 is A Quiet Place. This was directed by John Krasinski, also known as... That was my Jim impression. But it also stars him and his wife, Emily Blunt. He is so lucky. He is just so lucky. Oh. So lucky. Now this movie works as a horror, but it also works as a thriller. It's just one of those very rare horror movies or thriller movies that are made that are actually genuinely really good, just from a filmmaking standpoint, as well as just someone who watches movies. I love every single thing about this movie. Mainly the sound design. You know, what they did that was so genius was the fact that no one talked throughout the whole movie. Like, obviously they did, but, you know, there's very, very small amount of times that they do actually talk in the movie, and when they do, they whisper, and what it does is it brings you in closer, almost like you're listening to some random's conversation in the, you know, in like a shopping centre or something like that. And what it does is it brings you in closer, and then BAM! It does a jump scare. But they're not lazy jump scares. You know, I hate jump scares, but you know, it wasn't lazy. It was all very well made, and you know, I love it. It's number 3 on my list of the year. It didn't let me down. It just, honestly, it knocked me back, and I love this movie so much. Number 2 is Mission Impossible Fallout. This fucking movie, like, it is so good. Like, you can't talk about this movie without mentioning the action or the fact that Tom Cruise does his own stunts. But honestly, like, the big star of this movie, other than Henry Cavill, this man is just, like, fucking give me fucking Henry Cavill, you know what I mean? But the other star in this movie is actually Christopher McQuarrie. Now, he did Jack Reacher. I don't think he did Jack Reacher Never Go Back, because that was a really shit movie. But he also did Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Now this guy, this motherfucker, he just knows exactly how to film action. And you know what? It's pretty easy to do when you have when you don't have to cut corners by using a stunt double or using that CGI face swap technology. But honestly, he just knows how to direct action. But the other thing is, the story is good. You've got a lot of heartfelt moments with Ving Rhames, who's been in every Mission Impossible movie so far. But you know, like the Simon Pegg was great, and Rebecca Ferguson once again was fantastic. I just love this movie, but it is event filmmaking at its finest. It is such a spectacle, but it's got a great story behind it as well. Now, number 1 on my list is Annihilation. Alex Garland. This is his second movie. He did Ex Machina, which was just a glorious and beautiful movie, but it made me fall in love with Alicia Vikander. But you know what? It made me fall in love with Alex Garland. Anyway, this isn't an Ex Machina review, but anyway, Annihilation is just such a beautiful looking movie, but it's not all about looks. It's all about the substance that's on the inside, and just the certain. I don't want to give too much away, because it's a movie which you can't really discuss without giving away spoilers, but it's on Netflix, so go watch it. I'm actually gonna review it, but it will be a spoiler review. So yeah, just watch this movie. I'm so pissed off that Paramount sold it to Netflix, because I would have loved to have seen this movie on the cinema. I think it really needed that big screen feel to it, because honestly, it was so beautiful, but it's also got one of the most haunting scenes. I've seen this movie like 4 times now. It is amazing. I really can't see it changing from my number 1. If it does, it'll definitely be top 3. Yeah, definitely watch it. It gets the full tick of approval. So thank you so much for checking out my top 10 movies of the year so far. I hope you enjoyed watching it. But my big question is, what's on your list? You know, like I'm in Australia, so I haven't got the good movies yet. You know, like 8th Grade or Sorry to Bother You or anything like that. We probably won't get them for another 8 years. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone else's lists are, because this year has been a fantastic year for movies so far. Like, it's no 2014. But it's just been such a great year. So let me know what's on your list down below. And of course, if you like this video and want to see more, please click share to see more. And also the links to all the reviews that I've done for the movies which are featured on this list will be in the description box down below. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.